Welcome to the 2018-19 Winter Weather Outlook presentation for National Weather Service North Platte. I'm Darren Snively. Look at what we'll be covering in this presentation is a quick review of what happened last winter across the area. We'll look at the temperature and precipitation outlooks for this coming winter, a couple new things to discuss, and some current products. So the prediction for last winter from our in-house climate guru, Chris, showed that most areas would receive a bit more snow than the previous winter, but still less than normal, as the guidance from the national centers indicated equal chances of receiving above or below normal snowfall for the area. The temperature guidance was a little more clear, with lots of wide swings expected. So fast forward a year and see how we did. Western Nebraska did receive quite a bit more snow than the previous winter, but it ended up being above normal year. And we also received quite some wild swings in temperatures. The snow details for North Platte included 49.1 inches of snow over the season, making it almost 21 inches above normal for the year, and the fifth snowiest season since the 1890s. Thanks in part to a fourth snowiest January on record of 14 inches. That includes a snowstorm on the 21st to 22nd, in which we recorded just shy of a foot. February was the 8th snowiest February on record with almost 14 inches, and April was the 9th snowiest. A wider view shows western Nebraska and the Sandhills were hit particularly hard with snowfall last year, with a good portion of the area receiving more than 50 inches, including Ainsworth and Mullen. Broken Bow was just shy of 40 inches, and Bartlett around 34. And compared to normal, much of western Nebraska was at least a foot above normal, including Mullen and Ainsworth around 16 inches, and Broken Bow around 9 inches above normal. Temperature-wise, North Platte had a few wide swings, especially late December into early January, where we were particularly mild, leading up to the coldest part of the year right before the new year, then quickly warming back up to near record highs in mid-January. Then again, some big drops in February before finally returning to mild weather in March. At Valentine, they had drops of highs around 50 in late December to lows around minus 25 for the new year, and then warming back into the 60s, and then a few more wide swings late January into February. So let's take a look at what's happening this winter. The Climate Prediction Center places Nebraska in a better chance for warmer than normal conditions for the winter as a whole. At North Platte, it's 43% chance of receiving above normal compared to 25% chance for below normal, and a roughly 1 in 3 chance of having a near normal winter. Now, despite having above normal conditions as a whole, we will still see some cold waves. Now, the signal isn't as clear for precipitation for this winter, so the Prediction Center placed Nebraska in equal chances of receiving a drier than normal and a wetter than normal season. Now, overall, confidence is a bit lower than normal, as Nebraska's in the middle of stark contrast of a very warm north and a cooler south part of the country. And longer-term predictability is typically fairly low. This season is setting up to have a weak El Nino, and the drivers are fairly weak, which also leads to lower than normal confidence. In a typical El Nino pattern, the jet stream is shifted to the south, cutting across Mexico and the southern United States, and that's where the best storm track will be, leading the wet southern tier of the country. Drier across the Midwest and Tennessee Valley, and then warmer to the north, with northern Nebraska having a slightly better chance of seeing warmer than normal conditions. If we look at just years with weak El Ninos, the western United States typically fares a little warmer, and the eastern part of the country is a little cooler. But if we take out the 1976 and 77 season, Nebraska fares on the warmer side. For precipitation, the pattern can take the storm track right into western and southwest Nebraska, hence leading to a wetter section here. dry in the southeast U.S. and part of the Midwest, and a little bit in the western Rockies. And we can also see this in the snowfall patterns looking at weak El Nino years, where there has been an increase in snowfall over western Nebraska, as well as the southern plains. Now, keeping that in mind, the odds point toward a slightly wetter or snowier season, particularly for western Nebraska. However, we should see less snow than last year. We can see that in our climate graph, where in an average winter, North Platte receives about 28 inches of snow. And the big snowy seasons, particularly last year and 2010, are followed up by less snowy seasons. So to recap, the odds point toward a warmer season overall for western Nebraska. However, we will still see some cold spells. And precipitation chances are not as clear, although they lean toward an above normal snowfall, particularly the western part of the state. A new initiative that the National Weather Service offices in Nebraska are taking on this winter is called Pathfinder, an attempt to improve winter weather messaging across the state, particularly dealing with the roadways. Pathfinder is a collaboration between the Nebraska Department of Transportation, the National Weather Service, and a private forecasting service. The program is federally sponsored to improve weather messaging for the traveling public and has already taken hold in the neighboring states of Wyoming, Colorado, and Iowa. The essentials of Pathfinder are to focus on the messaging before, during, and after a winter weather event, and to develop consistent messaging among the agencies involved. And this will include heavy use of social media. A new winter weather product that will be implemented this season is called snow squall warning. A snow squall is an intense, fairly short period of moderate or heavy snowfall accompanied by gusty winds. Usually squalls last less than an hour, and they cut visibility down to a quarter mile or less. Usually occur during the daytime, and they can result in multiple car accidents. Not every NWS office will be issuing snow squalls this season, but we will take the initiative at NWS North Platte. Snow squall warnings can be thought of as the winter equivalent to a severe thunderstorm warning, again issued for a relatively small area for a relatively short period of time, but features intense weather such as heavy snowfall and strong winds leading to hazardous travel conditions. Snow squall warnings were tested by the NWS office in Cheyenne, Wyoming last winter, and eventually every NWS office will issue this warning. However, it's not expected to occur very often on the Great Plains due to the nature of winter storms. Now, some details are yet to be finalized regarding the snow squall warning. However, they will not be issued whenever a blizzard or winter storm warning is in effect, and the NWS is required to sound the NOAA weather radio. Now, cell phone alerts are expected in 2019. A new product in the works is dust storm warning polygons. Current dust storm warnings can only be issued for entire counties, whereas dust storm warnings for 2019 may be issued for portions of counties or featuring on high impact areas. And blowing dust warnings will take the place of the old dust storm warning where we can issue for a larger scale event. Blowing dust advisories, which are currently issued for counties, can also be broken into polygons. So dust storm warning polygons are also similar to severe thunderstorm warnings, whereas they're issued for events generally less than an hour and a half, dust storms that create a quarter-mile visibility or less, with winds of 25 miles an hour or greater, and focusing on the high-impact travel spots, such as Interstate 80. Now, these warnings will be able to alert cell phones, and NWS North Platte will be taking part in issuing these warnings. A perfect example of when a dust storm warning would be issued was from April and May of 2018 in eastern Nebraska, when dust from neighboring fields flew over Interstate 80, resulting in multi-vehicle accidents. The warning would be issued for portions of the counties, including Aurora, York, and Seward, for up to 90 minutes, and again focusing on the interstate. This would alert cell phones in the neighboring area so travelers would be notified of the warning. Wrapping up, remember to check snow amounts often this winter. We tend to update our forecast often, right until the event ends. Our most significant updates to the forecast usually come around 4 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. Again, we have a snow probability forecast webpage at weather.gov/northplatte/winter, where you can see the official NWS forecast along with the low end and high end snow amounts based on probabilities. Again, you can find this information on our main website at weather.gov/northplatte and our Facebook and Twitter pages. We will be holding conference calls and webinars again this winter, mainly for high impact events, using the Join Me app, or you can find online at join.me/NWS-northplatte. Our contact information can also be found through email at nws.northplatte@noaa.gov. We'd also encourage you to join NWS Chat, where you can see live updates for watches, warnings, and advisories as they're updated, as well as you can ask us any question at any time regarding the forecast. Our main office chat room is LBF Chat. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to call our office at 308-532-0921 or email us at nws.northplatte@noaa.gov.